Well, we must talk about this Raw show. So there was a lot of stuff that you liked, you said.
Yeah, Heath Slater's promo?
Heath Slater was awesome.
Yeah, Heath Slater's promo I liked. I thought that Bayley and Asuka was a pretty good match. I wouldn't say great, but it was pretty good. Kairi Sane and Sasha was all right. I'm trying to think what else. The Viking Raiders did like this just god awful, but it wasn't their fault. This was 100% the script fault. That Eric had to read the worst script in the world for his promo, and then I'm trying to think what else was. I mean, I got the whole thing in front of me, but that's the stuff that stood out. Is that freaking Eric interview was just not good at all. I thought the Rey Mysterio thing. I mean, I kind of knew where they were going with it, but I couldn't. You know, they didn't go all the way to say the only way to win is to pull the other guy's eye out, but they kind of
did. Ray threatened to pull his eyeball out.
I mean, my God, isn't that like just terrible?
It's not allowed.
I just think that's like so. Like, what are you trying to sell? I mean, it's like this isn't like the '60s with Mad Dog Vachon and the Crusher, where you threaten to maim people. This is like it's like. People don't buy that stuff at all. You know, like pulling out somebody's eye. Nobody wants to see that, I don't think. I mean, kind of like, and if they do...
Well, if you do, you're not going to get it.
Well, they're going to get something like that.
They're not going to get someone's eye pulled out, Dave.
No, they're going to do a special effect thing for it to make it look like they are. You know, obviously they're not going to pull somebody's eye out, but they weren't going to do it in the 60s either. With Mad Dog Vachon wasn't going to pull somebody's eye out either. And they wouldn't do a CGI effect for it back then. They just wouldn't do it. But this one, I guess they're gonna deliver something. But it's just, I don't know. I think it's completely stupid.
So the show opens up, and listen, I just want to make it clear, I'm happy that everybody's wearing masks, but man, they show all these fans cheering, and the first guy they show a close-up of, he's got a mask over his mouth and his nose is hanging out. Doesn't even have the mask on right. Everybody's yelling, cheering, and
well, most of the people did. There were exceptions, but what are you going to do?
You're going to tell them to put the mask on right because they're on national television. That's what you're going to do.
Well, the fines go into effect. Actually, I think the fines go into effect. We're supposed to go into effect on this show. Wow. So this would be the show where if you blew it, you're supposed to get fined.
I would bet nobody got fined.
Okay, they didn't show a lot of the people, but most everyone had masks. It looked like to me. They piped in a lot of fake crowd noise. Not a lot. I mean, at certain points they were piping in fake crowd noise, which was kind of weird because it never fit right. But what are you going to do? You got to have some crowd noise.
So Drew McIntyre comes out, and now the show is called The Horror Show at Extreme Rules. We heard this 85 times on this show. Plugs the match with Dolph.
And the horror show, such a, I mean, it's almost bizarre that they say that when they're just, they got a freaking skeleton crew because of the freaking horror show.
Yes. So he demands Dolph come out to tell everybody what the stipulation is for the match. And Dolph comes out and says, the stipulation is a secret. I will tell you the stip. I would be a fool to do so before the horror show at Extreme Rules. So they're bantering back and forth and this and that. And finally Dolph says, Drew, you've stabbed a lot of guys in the back on your way to the title. Not just me. I got somebody here tonight that you did the same thing to. Out comes Heath Slater. He's got a free agent shirt on.
He got jacked.
He's a big dude now.
Yeah, he gained a lot of weight since the last time we saw him. If he'd looked like this like 10 months ago, Vince probably wouldn't have cut him.
Well, you can still hire him back. There's still time.
He may after that promo. He may.
I'd hire him back after this promo. I can tell you that much. I did have one problem with the promo, though. So anyway, he gets in the ring. And he says, I've known you, Drew, for over a decade. We go way back. I remember the first time you came to the States. You were one of the first guys to get called up to the main roster, the chosen one. But back then you weren't the chosen one. But now you are. I was sitting at home in April watching you.
He was the chosen one. He just blew it. I mean, they called him the chosen one. He really was. I mean, they wanted to make him into this new superstar, and then, they gave up on him because
the fact of the matter is he is now, but he actually wasn't then.
Yeah, he's the star of the company now.
He says, I was watching in April, you take on Brock Lesnar, you Claymored his head off, you beat him. I jumped up, I screamed, I cried, because I love you. I had joy in my heart for you. When you were released so many years ago, I called you every day. Whenever I came to Florida to visit, I came to see you. You're my brother. But where were you for me? I haven't spoke to you in how long you don't even know. It was on the bump, he says. Apparently nobody remembers the bump. He says, I'm here today for my 2 little girls. I'm fighting for them. They believe in Daddy. I want you to know that I was there for you, and you were not there for me.
So in this interview, he said that his other character was fake, because he goes like, not my 22 fake kids, but my 2 real kids.
Yes.
So he was like basically saying that the whole gimmick that he was playing that everybody liked wasn't real.
So here's my problem. I thought that Heath's promo was unbelievably great, but my one complaint.
I wouldn't go unbelievable. I liked it.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was great, but I mean, it's not like it was some Ric Flair promo. It was really good.
But listen, he said that when Drew got fired, he called him every single day, and he met with him at his house, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got fired, he said Drew never called him a single time. And the look on Drew's face indicates that, in fact, he never called his buddy a single time.
I know. It makes Drew into quite a baby face, doesn't it?
That was the point. I was watching this thinking, Heath is awesome, but man, you're making Drew look like an asshole here.
Yeah, well, maybe the people who scripted the promo missed basic emotions.
Well, I'm sure they missed basic emotions. I mean, we can see that from watching how they run the company. But I can't believe they did that with Drew.
I thought the same thing. I'm going like, what are you talking about? You're making him out to be an asshole, and he's your top babyface. Because if this guy really, when you got fired, called him every day, he could have called him once in 4 months. You know what I mean?
But he didn't. And then Heath says, on the bump, you said that you would give me a shot.
He did say that.
Now I want my shot. And Drew decides he doesn't want to give him his shot now.
Well, he agreed to it.
Well, he agreed to it after Heath had to slap him and push him and shove him and demand it.
Yeah.
But that was another one. It's like, well, why did Drew say that if he didn't mean it? He came off as not the best babyface here. So they agree to the match. And let me tell you something. By the time this was over, hold on, wait, don't spoil it.
Okay.
By the time this was over, they go to commercial. And all I could think was, I am 10 times more interested in Drew McIntyre versus Heath Slater than I am Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. I couldn't give 2 shits about that match. But this one, after that promo, I care about this match. They fucking go to commercial and come back, and Drew claymores him in 5 seconds and pins him.
Yeah.
Dude. That was the end of that. Beats the guy, and
then Ziggler
berates him, tries to beat up Heath, and then Drew makes the save. And after all that, after that whole promo, Drew makes a save after Dolph's beating the guy up, and they hug, and now they're best friends again.
Mm-hmm.
You can't win them all, but I loved the promo.
Yep.
So we have Sasha with Bayley and Sarah. Sarah's interviewing him. And this is like the new thing that they do where they go backstage, the interview person is going to interview him, and the interview consists of them saying, we're going to go out and tell the world. And then they go to commercial, and they go out and tell the world.
Yeah, I don't like the double interview thing. They did that also with MVP and Lashley later in the show.
Yes.
And they've been doing that. That's like a new pattern. They've been doing that a lot.
It's their
lately.
new thing, yes.
Yeah, I don't like. You only need one interview. You don't need a backstage interview and then come out and do another interview. It just makes everything redundant.
So Bayley and Sasha come out, and Bayley says she's facing Asuka tonight, champion versus champion, and she has to defend against Nikki at the horror show at Extreme Rules. Sasha says she'll beat Asuka, win the title, and become Sasha 2 belts. Asuka comes out, says Sasha's not very good at math, says Bayley is not ready for Asuka. They're running her down, saying, what are you going to do? You don't got anybody. And Asuka introduces the returning for the moment, Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
Leads to Sasha versus Kairi. And
That was quite the thing where they advertised her for like a few hours and then they pulled the advertising of her.
Yeah.
I guess somebody wanted to promote that she was coming back, and then somebody decided that they didn't want to promote that she was coming back.
Yes. Yes, on a taped show.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure this out. So they had a match, and the match was good, but they did this on SmackDown for one of the matches, too. They wrestled for a long time, and then Bayley just hits the ring for the DQ. After all that time, I was like, this was such a waste of my time. Give me something. I'm saying, give me some finish. It wasn't even like a creative DQ. It was just like, we got our 15 minutes, so Bayley, get in there. DQ, that's it.
That's what they do now a lot. It's like they don't want to do they don't want to do too many finishes. So, he'll run in DQ. That's kind of what they do.
Well, it sucked. They got into a brawl afterwards.
It always sucks.
Kyrie dove off
as far
the
as
post
that finish. Yeah, I think that they probably figured that I think that she dove off with like an elbow plancha. But I think the idea is that if we give people a big spot, they forget that it's a DQ. But the reality is that
they don't forget. How stupid do they think we are?
I know that they don't forget. That's exactly. You don't forget.
I watched a match for 15 minutes and they gave me a shit DQ, and then she does a dive off the post. I'm supposed to forget the finish?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's the mentality behind it. That's why she did the dive. It's like we ended spectacularly, so you forget that the actual match finish was anything but spectacular.
So Ray is allegedly laid out backstage, but it's actually not Ray. It's Aleister Black with a Rey Mysterio mask on. And Murphy and Seth are yelling at him.
No mentions at all of Austin Theory.
No, he's vanished off the face of the earth 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I need to find out what's going on with him. Lots of stories. So I think maybe somebody kidnapped him. Maybe Santos Escobar.
I don't think so. I don't think Austin Theory is Hispanic. I could be wrong. I guess I don't look Hispanic either, but I am.
Yeah.
Big Show's with the Viking Raiders. They're joking around about bowling. Big Show doesn't want to have any fun. They're in a 6-man tonight with Randy Orton. Viking Raiders keep joking around, so Big Show slaps him, fires him up, and Eric says, "Our Viking ways might be strange to you, but tonight in the ring, the raid is on."
It sucked so bad. It sucked so bad.
This was
God.
A poor.
Well, he talked about. Line. Is this the one where they talked about how they were like their heroes growing up were Edge and Christian, and how Edge is a Viking just like they are?
Yes.
Oh, God, I hated this promo.
I feel like the Vikings have thicker skin.
Than what?
Edge. Dude, this guy crying about the fans. He's been crying about the fans for months now. And I don't even know.
Who,
like
Edge?
Yeah.
Edge? What?
He just did another promo complaining about the fans.
Man.
It's like, dude, listen, Edge. Listen, Adam, okay? The match in WrestleMania was boring, okay? But
he can't handle that.
But the greatest match of all time
was great.
Like, was universally praised.
I know.
Everybody thought that match was great.
And now he's sitting there going like, these people these people were complaining about the match. And it's like,
nobody complained about that match. Everybody, every last single person has talked about how great that match was.
For the most part. Yeah. I mean, almost everyone. Yeah. But, and then he said how people complained about, what do you fans want? You complained about, like, we went 40 minutes and you complained and nobody did. And Goldberg and Brock went 4 minutes and you complained.
No one complained about that match.
Almost nobody. I mean, there were a few, but
dude,
almost nobody.
That was one of the best 5-minute matches I ever saw. That match was awesome. Everybody loved that 5-minute match.
People did.
What is he talking about?
I don't know. I mean, you're asking the wrong person, because I looked at that thing and was just like, what is he talking about?
For fuck's sake, everybody has praised virtually every single promo the guy has cut. I think every single promo the guy has cut.
Every single promo the guy's cut, yes.
Everybody has praised his promos. Everybody has praised the build to the match. There was one match, his WrestleMania match, that was largely universally considered boring. One match!
That match was boring
And
as shit.
every last single solitary other thing that he has done has been praised, and he is still bitching about the fans. Dude.
Man, imagine if he was like Roman Reigns.
Oh, my Lord.
Or John Cena, or those guys that really did get, or frickin', Ronda.
He doesn't even know what criticism is.
I mean, imagine if he was Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean?
No one even said WrestleMania was bad. They just said it was boring. One match.
It was bad. It was bad. Okay, that match was bad. God, it never ended. I mean, but whatever. I mean, I think for the rest of his life, he's just going to think that every match he does is criticized. That way he can be the victim. I don't know. I hate to do this. The guy works hard and he's a super talent and he's a great promo. But yes, he does need to get over it. Get over it. People liked your match. Jesus Christ.
Isn't the old saying, you're only as good as your last match? Well, your last fucking match was great.
Yeah, he's got a torn tricep now, though.
Well, he got a torn tricep in a great match that nobody complained about.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Kevin Owens came out for the Kevin Owens show, and he calls out Seth Rollins as his guest. And they're going back and forth, and Kevin gives him a shirt. It's a KO Mania shirt from WrestleMania that he wore.
The WrestleMania shirt. The shirt he wore at WrestleMania.
And Seth says, the only reason I'm really here, I don't care about your stupid shirts or anything like that, but your show is a platform, and I want to address the now medically cleared Rey Mysterio. I want to formally challenge him to a match at Extreme Rules. And so he tries to recruit Kevin Owens. Rey and Dominic come out. Rey says, I accept. Your destiny will be in my hands at the horror show at Extreme Rules. And Seth says, well, that's awesome, but you're supposed to be in a match tonight. Your partner, Alistair, is MIA. What are you going to do? Come down here and face Murphy and myself 2-on-1? Or maybe you could bring your boy down here and we could take out one of his eyes instead. Kevin says, listen, I'm never going to fight on your side, Seth, but I will fight by Rey Mysterio. So, Rey, if you need a partner tonight, I'm your partner. And so the winner will pick the Stips for the Extreme Rules match.
I think the Stip was going to be the same no matter who won.
I think you're right, but Rey and Kevin face Seth and Murphy, and there's a spot where Seth goes outside, and he's begging for Dominic to hit him, because if Dominic hits him, it will be a DQ, and Seth can choose the Stip.
I'm glad they explained it.
Yes.
Because actually with the explanation, it made sense.
So Dominic won't hit him, so Seth grabs Dominic and starts gouging at his eyeball. This is not a disqualification. Apparently, it's totally legal.
It's okay if the guy's
gouge the eyeball of somebody's son outside.
Yeah, but because he's not in the match.
So they get heat on Kevin. Rey makes this great comeback. Rey was so great in this match.
I know.
How is this guy not under a contract?
Because he wants way more money than Vince wants to pay him. It's actually quite simple.
No, it's not quite simple.
Yes, it is.
They got
Vince,
a $2.3 billion television deal. Pay Rey Mysterio.
Well, evidently, hey, it's the same thing with frickin' John Jones and Conor McGregor and everybody else. They want more money than the company wants to pay.
Well, there's a difference.
The company. No, the company can
I'll tell you the
afford
difference.
every one of these guys.
Where are they going if they don't get the money? Nowhere.
That's true. That's true.
Rey Mysterio could be on Dynamite in 2 weeks if they don't pay this guy his money. You're going to hand Rey Mysterio to Dynamite? You're out of your mind.
Well, he could, but he won't. But legally he could. Legally he could be there on the 15th.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, legally he's not going to do it, but he could. I mean, he's not a guy who's going to walk out in the middle of a program. If he was Bruiser Brody, he would be there tomorrow. But he's not Bruiser Brody, he's Rey. But he's still, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. He may go. I don't think he's going to go, but he could go. He could go there. He could go to Japan. I still think he should send Dominic to Shibata. I mean, if he wants Dominic to have a long career, it's best to be a great wrestler. And that guy, man, that guy's a hell of a trainer. I'd rather, I think it's funny because like when Finley, wanted his son to be a wrestler and Regal wanted his son to be a wrestler, they sent him to New Japan. So I think that's probably the way to go.
So back to this match here. Seth is going after Dominic. Aleister Black's music hits. So he comes out on the ramp. Seth drops to his knees in front of Aleister. Aleister just stands there, and I don't think we ever saw him again.
He can't hit him either, because if he hits him, it's a DQ.
So he stands there in front of him. I guess that's the deal. Dominic gouges Murphy's eyes. Ray hits a 619. Frog Splash gets the pin. So Ray gets to pick the stip. He does, in fact, choose eye for an eye. You damaged my eye. Went after my son's eye. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to pull your eyeball out with my bare hands. Everybody's appalled, including Kevin Owens. And no one knows what's going on, and they cut away.
Yeah.
You don't realize they're stealing the word for word.
The eye for an eye, the John Moxley
Santana match.
Yeah.
But at least they did it right. Both guys had gouged each other's eyes out first, and then the match was just called eye for an eye. Yeah. This, they're trying to claim that someone's going to pull someone's eyeball out of his socket.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Their eyes at least healed at some point.
They did eventually heal.
Yeah.
Charlie's with MVP and Lashley. They say, we're going to go out and talk.
They say we're going to go to the ring and we're going to do an interview.
So they go to the ring and do an interview. And they're talking about Apollo Crews and how disrespectful it was to turn down his membership.
So MVP is going to be wrestling Crews at the pay-per-view.
At the horror show at Extreme Rules, Dave.
So it's like the third time. I thought for sure that, I guess they could still go with Lashley later.
So MVP reveals the new U.S. Championship, and Lashley puts it around his waist. The announcers are totally confused. They think that MVP has just made a fake belt for himself to wear, which maybe that is the gimmick, but I thought they were introducing a new belt. What's going on?
That's the gimmick. The gimmick is that he made it, that's the story.
So they're not introducing a new belt.
No, well, maybe when Crews beats him, Crews will use that as the new belt.
I see. Or vice versa.
Or MVP wins and uses that as the belt. But right now it's like the thing with Moose and Impact. It's like a fake belt. But the
problem is it looks better than the real belt.
Yeah, it's a cool looking belt.
So Ricochet,
the gimmick is that MVP is like a rich guy, so he had to have a good
richer
looking belt.
than Vince McMahon.
Well, that's not his gimmick, but the gimmick is that he's a rich guy, so he needs to have like a real gaudy, belt.
I mean, so is Vince. Shouldn't he be making gaudy belts? He's the most lucrative wrestling promoter in the history of any planet in the universe.
Yeah,
that we know of.
But if you listen to Vince, he's poor right now because he's got no house shows and he's broke and he needs to fire people left and right, or else he's going to go out of business tomorrow.
Oh, get out of here.
So he certainly can't afford to frickin' spend money on a belt right now. I bet you they're repossessing their water coolers right now. He's trying to save money, trying to, cut back, no more, whatever it is. Don't waste paper.
Oh, man. He better not see your office.
I know, really.
So Ricochet and Cedric come out. Cedric says you need to earn belts here. Ricochet says Apollo will be back soon. This fantasy will come to an end. Brawl breaks out. We have Cedric and Ricochet versus Lashley and MVP.
Hey, you didn't watch the Ricochet thing on WWE Network, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay, I didn't either, but I was just wondering, like, how the hell they explained Ricochet. Because
I can only imagine.
I mean, because the guy, it's like you watch all these clips from like before he got here. I don't know how much stuff that they had, and then all those clips in NXT where he's like so great, and then he goes to the main roster where he does like nothing. It's like, how do you like make that into a heroic story?
Maybe I will need to watch it.
Maybe I'm sure that they had some storyline way to do it, but my God.
So they have this match, and they just destroy the babyfaces forever. It wasn't a total squash, but I mean, it was a one-sided beating. And finally, MVP takes out Ricochet. Lashley spears Cedric, pins him clean in the middle, puts him in the full Nelson. Ricochet gets one top rope drop kick to break it up. They run for their lives. That's a segment. Selena's trying to get Andrade and Angel back together. Flair shows up. Why is Ric Flair all over the show? He's in everybody's face. He's just, I don't know.
I don't know. This Ric Flair thing just It's like, why are they playing with fire?
I don't know.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. It just boggles my mind. You know, it's like they think that like, I'm thinking, okay, they probably like don't watch the news at all. They probably like have deluded themselves into like this whole thing is fake, but they got to do masks because of the ordinance or something, and they're testing because, you know, I mean, they have to test now. I don't know. It's just so when I see, I mean, UFC and WWE both have roughly the same amount of money to work with. I think WWE slightly more, but UFC's a lot more profitable than WWE because they don't have as much office expenses. But essentially they're both like super rich companies, and the money's guaranteed from television. You know, so they can't lose money essentially. And UFC is, after Dana said like the dumbest things in the world for a long time, UFC is doing probably like, you know, an incredible job of testing and more testing. They're going to, you know, in Abu Dhabi, they're testing everyone every other day. Everyone's getting tested every other day. So, you know, and WWE, it's like, I mean, they are testing, so that's better, but, you know, I don't know. Bringing Ric Flair there, it's like, what's the, and it's not like there's like a reason, you know what I mean? It's like, if there was like some storyline reason that somehow fit, you could sort of say that. But I mean, they just bring him there. Like, he's not even Randy Orton's manager yet. I mean, if he was Randy Orton's manager, at least, well, he's Randy Orton's manager. I mean, it wouldn't make it any safer, but he's just there hanging out and cutting promos that, you know, aren't even necessary.
So he's back there and he's trying to get them on the same page before Randy shows up. I don't even know why. Randy shows up and Ric Flair ends up with this very, very nervous look on his face that, in fact, I have seen in real life. Randy says, I see you both are also third-generation wrestlers. I respect you for that. If anything goes wrong out there tonight, I'll show you I'm the legend killer.
Where did you see Ric Flair like that before?
So Charlie's with Kyrie and Asuka.
You thinking the same thing I'm thinking?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's the exact look on his face.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Charlie is with Kyrie and Asuka. Asuka says after she beats Bayley, they want a tag title shot for next Monday. And then Kyrie plays their theme on her recorder, and Charlie is blown away by her talent. Never seen someone so talented.
Oh, come on.
Let's look on her face she had. Big Show and the Viking Raiders.
She does that look. She does great looks on her face. She really does.
Big Show and the Viking Raiders versus Angel, Andrade, and Randy Orton. So Randy's on the apron getting progressively more irritated as Andrade and Angel screw things up. And Angel gets mad at Andrade, starts screaming at him. Randy then starts screaming at Garza. He says, get your ass out here.
He was going to kill Garza. He threatened to murder him.
He grabbed him by the neck. He told him to pull his head out of his ass. He said that he knew Angel grew up in this business, and he respected him because he also grew up in this business. But do not think I won't put you in the ground.
Yeah, he threatened to murder Angel Garza.
Where
was Charlie during all this?
Serious threat.
Where was Charlie in all this? That's the love of her life.
I can only imagine the question she would have asked on that. Randy, what does it mean you're going to put him in the ground? He's a flower?
Oh, my God. Why are you trying to murder this guy?
I go to commercial and come back. The heels are pounding.
By the way, okay, he brought Charlie a flower.
No, dude, that was months ago, dude.
No, it was last week.
No,
what happened?
I don't think, was it last week?
Yeah. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. But nothing ever happened. It's like we start this
because nothing ever happens.
I mean, at some point, shouldn't something have happened?
Yeah.
I mean,
the Booker's gone. There's a new guy in.
I guess, but this was like one of the things that was working.
Well, it's not working now.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Randy hits Eric with the RKO, gets the pin. Iconics do this promo. They're running down Ruby Riott. She shows up. She says she doesn't like him, and that was that. We have Flair backstage with Randy Orton. Truth runs up. and knocks over Randy practically. And Randy gets up, wants to know what the hell's going on. Truth thinks that Ric Flair is Tozawa. The ninjas come running. He runs off. Randy Orton tells Tozawa and the ninjas to stop. He says, "You're looking for Truth. He went that way." And he sends him off in the wrong direction, and everybody is confused. How much do you bet we don't have a follow-up for this one next week?
I don't know, but yeah, Randy Orton saved R-Truth, so there's good in his heart. But why should there be any good in his heart right now?
That's what you got out of this?
Yeah, but
I thought there's some sort of trap that he's laying for Truth. Like it's going to get Ric Flair that 24/7 title.
Maybe, but Ric Flair didn't do anything. Nothing happened.
I know.
The show ended. There was so that didn't work out that way.
Well, I mean, if this were a real wrestling promotion, there would be a follow-up on next week's program. There's 50-50 chance.
Next week they could find out where he is. It's like because Randy Orton sent him, packing in the wrong direction one week. That it's not like they're going to still be like going down that same path for like a week. That just doesn't even make sense. I thought it was interesting that he thought that like Tozawa was dressed up to look like Ric Flair.
So we have Ruby Riott and Billie Kay. Match was short. It was bad. Billie fucked up her own finish, which is a rarity in this business. Trying to do a sit-out Uranage, but it just doesn't work. On a pre-taped show, they don't even bother retaping it. And she gets the pin.
I know. She could just do it again. They could just do the whole match again.
Well, I mean, if I were Ruby and I fell the way she did on this move, I mean, I would have said, please let's not do it again. Let's just keep that one. Because that was a horrible landing. Then we have Charlie with Sasha and Bayley. The story is that Sasha accepts the tag title challenge. Bayley's upset.
Yeah.
And Sasha says, "Come on, we're the best. We can do this."
Yeah, but you can beat her anyway.
Nikki Cross joins the announcer. Security comes out. She promises she'll be nice. The announcers tell the security to let her stay. The match starts. She literally goes right after them. Security comes back, and they get rid of her. But not very far. They put her on the other side of the plexiglass, apparently. So they have this match.
They kicked her out, and she snuck back in.
They have this match, and it's pretty good. The big spot was they're just doing all these moves, and all of a sudden, kabam! Asuka gives Bayley the hardest back fist you ever seen. Bayley collapses. Asuka reacts like she accidentally hit her as hard as she could. She just stops wrestling. Her mouth is agape. She's shocked and horrified at what she's done. I'm like, this is a taped show. What's going on here? And Sasha goes over to check on Bayley. There's no doctor. There's no ref. And for like 2 minutes, Bayley's just kind of stumbling around out there, and they kept the match going. And she eventually got her bearings back, but this is a taped show. Why are we not taking care of people when they get hit in the face with a spinning back fist?
Well, I mean, shouldn't the protocol be that if someone has a possibility of a concussion, that you throw out the storyline and you just get it over with?
That's what I'd think.
I mean, isn't that the protocol? I mean, they never do that. Because whenever somebody has a concussion in a match, they always keep the match going. And I always think that, like, and that's tradition in wrestling anyway. But I always think that, like, come on, everyone knows. I mean, every now and then, you're not going to get your scripted ending to a match. I mean, but it's for the better. Because the last thing we need is like...
Dude, and not only that, the match itself, I mean, there was minor distraction at the end. But, I mean, Asuka pinned Bayley clean. So why, if you backfisted her and knocked her in the next week, can you not stop, make sure Bayley's okay...
Just pin her.
Just lay her on the mat and have Asuka cover her and pin her. It's the same goddamn finish.
It was more convincing than the finish they did.
So anyway, they kept going.
But it's not her finish.
Well, actually, the finish wasn't her finish either, because she goes for the Asuka lock.
Yeah,
but then she cradles her and pins her out of an Asuka lock. So,
but it was a cool looking finish.
It's a cool looking finish, but dude, let's take care of everybody.
Agreed. Yeah, someone's knocked silly. Stop the match. Just have the ref stop it. That's what the refs... Isn't that like the ref's supposed to do when something like that happens?
Well, I mean, in real life, that would be what the ref would do, and there should be more ref stoppages. In case something like this happens, you've established the ref stoppage, but they don't like the ref stoppage.
Vince hates the ref stoppage because he didn't grow up watching boxing or MMA.
Well,
He doesn't even know what MMA is practically. So it's whenever someone brings up an MMA concept to him, it's like he may give it's 3 weeks, but it's always gonna be forgotten. So that's a lock.
So that was a show. Sets up the tag title match next week, and no announcement of anything for EO or Asuka or whatever for NXT on Wednesday. It's just, dude, I figured they would do that tag match on this second.
Yeah,
night.
but you can't do. You could, but I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do EO and Asuka against Sasha and Bailey on Wednesday, and then bring it back on Monday. You could.
But EO's
do
not in the match on Monday. Kyrie is.
I know, but it's essentially doing the same thing. You could do it. There's ways you actually, you definitely could do it, but whatever. Maybe they'll do it. Who knows? Maybe they. I can't. I don't think that's what they're doing though. But whatever.
Well, the show opened up with MVP in the ring for the VIP lounge, and he calls out Dolph Ziggler for his guest, and they just kind of chit-chat. Dolph talks about how I brought Drew in, and Drew never thanked me for everything that I did for him, this whole thing. Drew finally comes out, and he says he's going to destroy him at the pay-per-view. Whatever happens on Sunday, it's on you. And in fact, I want some action right now. He decks Dolph with a jab. He shoves MVP, and he leaves. That is the go-home angle.
Well, they came back with another angle later in the show
For Drew and Dolph.
It was
they did?
They had a big brawl later in the show.
Oh, yeah. I guess they did, didn't they? Well, that tells you how much of an impact that had on me.
Yeah, no, I don't think
this is Dolph Ziggler getting a championship match in 2020 against Drew McIntyre. It ain't happening for me.
Yeah, the thing is, the storyline that they're trying to tell is that Drew's career was dead, and then Dolph brought him to Raw and revived his career. That storyline tells you that NXT never happened. And NXT is worthless because his career was dead, even though he was NXT champion for a long period of time and an NXT main eventer on several takeovers. So and then the whole thing of Dolph brought him in, like Dolph brought him back, and it's like, he came from NXT. Granted, he actually came back from bicep surgery. There was a gap. So it's not like he came directly from NXT title to Raw. It was, several months, but he'd been in, he'd been in NXT and he'd been pushed in NXT. It wasn't like he was in NXT and just hanging around. He was pushed as one of the main guys there from the day he showed up there. But the new storyline is that he was, some guy who was working indies, and his career was dead. And then Dolph brought him to WWE and saved him. And of course, Drew McIntyre's version of the story is that Dolph Ziggler used him to get back, into the spotlight and to be his muscle and all that. And, McIntyre, Dolph's claiming credit for making McIntyre into a star, and McIntyre's claiming that Dolph was just using him and, he made himself into a star. So that's kind of the story here. It's just I think that the big story of this whole, and again, the COVID changed a lot of things, but the big story of right now with WWE is the lousy job that they have made when it comes to making world title challengers, because we had Miz and Morrison headline a pay-per-view against Strowman because we had nobody, because Bray was taking time off because of the birth of his child. And now Bray's back, and they're trying to drag that thing along to, a second meeting on this show and probably a third meeting after. And then on the other side, it's Ziggler, you had Lashley, who at least was, something new. MVP did some good promos and everything. They're obviously still keeping Lashley strong. Obviously, you got Randy Orton ready, whether that's SummerSlam or another big show later. So there's some stuff, but it was like this month, the idea was, I guess, that they didn't want to do a Lashley rematch and beat Lashley again. So they needed somebody else, and that was Dolph Ziggler, who's, he was wrestling Otis, left Otis with no opponent, but Otis isn't around now anyway.
So we have Charlie with Angel, Andrade, and Zelina, and Charlie is still smitten with Angel Garza, and he produces this rose as he's doing this promo. They're talking about facing the Viking Raiders and how they teamed with Randy Orton to beat the Big Show. They have the Street Profits running scared. Zelina's burying Charlie and up walk the Viking Raiders. And they talk about being the most dominant team on Raw. They're going to run through Andrade and Angel tonight. And Charlie is all of a sudden speechless because the gimmick is that Ivar is the cute one. She is smitten with Ivar.
Well, only because
he grabs the rose. No, she was smitten before he grabbed the rose.
She's double team. She's two timing Garza.
Yes,
for Ivar.
So she's all flustered. She's just staring at him, mumbling, and he reaches over and he grabs the rose from Angel. He gives it to Charlie. Now she's even more smitten. Angel is upset. And off they go for this tag team elimination match.
That storyline sure played out in the match.
Yeah, well, I mean, it came down to the two of them at the end, but I mean, there was...
But it had nothing to do with this.
At least they could have put Charlie on the line. Nothing. We have a elimination match. Viking Raiders versus Angel and Andrade.
You didn't mention how absolutely wretched those lines they gave poor Eric. Eric's promo, again, second straight week. Whoever writes his promos is the dirt worst writer. I mean, it's just like his delivery isn't the best anyway, so it's tough. I know his delivery is fine if he's comfortable with the words because I've seen him do promos for years. He's not a bad promo or anything, but the lines that they gave him were just bad. So anyway.
The whole segment was like, I can't even say a high school play because that would be.
It wasn't a smooth segment at all.
Maybe an elementary school play at this point. So they have this elimination match.
How many months do they have before? Like, I know that they want to drag the Charlie and Garza thing out as long as they can, but it's getting kind of silly for a guy who's like a big Lothario and everything. He sure moves slow.
Hey, you got to take your time. So they run wild. Eric gets cut off. Ivar gets drop kicked off the apron.
How much time does he need? Do you want to wait until like 2022?
Andrade, well, it's COVID. I mean, you don't want to rush.
Yeah, I guess you can't take her to the movies anyway, right?
There's a lot you can't do, Dave, or you're not supposed to. Andrade hit the hammerlock DDT, got the pin.
But we both know that WWE talent, not all the WWE talent realizes this. That's one of the issues that we have, unfortunately.
But maybe Angel does.
Well, okay, maybe.
Anyway, it comes down to Ivar versus Andrade and Angel. And Andrade saves Angel from a dive. Angel gets a near fall. Ivar tries the flare bump in the corner, only gets about halfway up. Still hits a big punch. Andrade gets a blind tag. Angel ducks a kick. Andrade gets kicked, and he is pinned. So, in fact, it comes down.
Well, no. Andrade pulled Garza out of the way and took the kick. No. That was the finish. For the finish, he pulls him out of the way for the finish. That was like the key part of it. Is Andrade saved Angel twice. The first time from a kick, and then the second time when they pretty much repeated the spot, he pulls him out of the way and takes the kick himself and gets pinned.
So it's Angel versus Ivar, and they go back and forth. Ivar tries something out of the corner. Angel catches him, power bombs him, and gets the pin. So Angel and Andrade did the fist bump afterwards.
Okay, so he used the trunks, which the announcers never called, so he wouldn't have known it. But that was the idea was that he cheated. But when they didn't tell you and the camera angle missed it, then I guess nobody knew that he cheated to win.
I'm going to go back and watch this whole match on my phone as we do this.
All right.
We had a Ruby Riott promo. The Iconics show up. She's all by herself. So each of the Iconics have beaten her. And so tonight they're having another match. and it's going to be a tag match, except they say that Ruby has no partners and she has no friends. And up walks Bianca Belair, and she's going to be Ruby's partner. Bianca is great. She actually can pull off some of this dialogue. She was good here.
She was good. She was good. She freaking saved the match, too.
So then we actually have this Iconics versus Ruby and Bianca match. And Bianca, I mean, my only complaint about this, I mean, I could probably have a couple of complaints, but the biggest one is Bianca's on the apron the whole time. She's waiting for the tag. She's waiting for the tag. She's waiting for the tag. And she gets the hot tag, and she gets in there with Billie Kay. And Billie Kay is, I mean this in the nicest way possible, she's pretty much terrible. And she's slow bumping. She's slow getting up. Like, it was the worst person to make your big return hot tag on. But she did it, and she hit the KOD, and she got the pin. Peyton has improved a lot in the last couple of months. I have no idea why she wasn't in there for the hot tag, but she wasn't, and that was that. Bianca looked great, all things considered. The performance center students cheered her like crazy. She came off like a star.
She looked like a completely different level athlete from the other three. I mean, she just, like the other three.
She is.
Well, I know she is, but I mean, she just looked, I mean, it was just like watching three, wrestlers who were just there, and then one person who was like such clear, just such a clear star. She just completely stood out. So, which is funny because, this match was set up for Liv Morgan, not Bianca, but there's no Liv Morgan. So Bianca got, moved in, and obviously they don't want to beat her this early. That would be foolish. So she won.
We had Truth meeting with Ricochet and Cedric, and they do a bunch of goofy comedy, and
Truth thinks
basically Truth heard a rumor that Ricochet was the MVP of Raw, which was definitely fake.
No. What happened is he looked on the board, and it said Ricochet versus Lashley with MVP. And so he saw it and he thought that Ricochet was the MVP, and they explained it to him that no, MVP is with Lashley against Ricochet.
Yes. Truth thought that Ricochet was the MVP of Raw.
He thought that when it said with MVP, that meant that he was the MVP of Raw, not that there's a wrestler named MVP.
They also, Dave, explained all of these jokes, and it was not funny, and
actually, I thought
it was done.
That was cute. And then Truth thought that he was wrestling Ric Flair on the show tonight, and they had to explain to him he was wrestling Randy Orton.
Truth runs into Tozawa, says he wants Tozawa to teach him how to have a black belt in 10 minutes. Tozawa says no. Tries to roll him up. Truth kicks out. Ninjas show up. And then Cedric and Ricochet show up, and Ricochet is doing the crane pose from the Karate Kid. They're dead. I mean,
well, look,
done.
I mean, they've been dead, and they were dead again. Look at how they were booked tonight. I mean, they got murdered.
So Truth then challenges Tozawa for the 24/7 title in a match in the ring. So he goes out. He demands that he send all of the ninjas to the back. So out comes, of all people, Shayna Baszler. And Tozawa sends the ninjas after her. She kills them one at a time. Tozawa bails. Shayna notices Truth. Truth bails, so she's all by herself. And she basically cuts a promo, a horribly written promo, I might add. All these weak-minded women's champions are running around fooling themselves under the delusion that they're in control, that the limbs and the terror left in my wake are nothing but a distant memory. What?
Hey, she doesn't have her, she was a project of Paul Heyman, and, before Vince took her off TV, and now they put her back on TV, and, she's back with the real writers. It's a big difference.
She vows to hit them with a dose of reality. We have one of these classic new WWE segments where Seth tells Murphy that he's going to go talk. And so he heads down to the ring. He's got a message to deliver. Talks about eye for an eye forever. It's the usual horrific Seth Rollins promo. He talks about
actually, I thought
sacrifice.
I thought this was better than most of them have been. I thought, like, it's a ridiculous match, ridiculous stips, but at least he explained it, and when it was over, he got over the stips. Whether it's as good as you're going to. He explained what they were. He didn't like muffle his words or nothing. I mean, for what his role was here, I mean, the gimmick sucks, and he's so much better than this gimmick, but he did his job on the promo. I thought, like, given all the parameters and everything like that, and the fact that he's got to get over this just completely ludicrous stipulation, I actually thought he did a good job.
I wrote in all caps, "This is so dumb."
Well, it is. It's dumb as hell. This is probably one of the dumbest stips that they've done. I mean, probably since God, I don't know. It was TNA that did the child custody skit, so it wouldn't be this with Kurt Angle. I'm trying to think of, like, really stupid stips WWE's done. This is this is up there.
So he talks about how Ray will never see his wife's face. He will never see his son being married again. He will never see another sunrise or sunset. And finally, out comes Kevin Owens. And he's lost a ton of weight, by the way. And he says that Seth is a scumbag, and Ray is a genuinely nice guy that everybody respects in this industry. And you got him to the point where he wants to gouge your eye out. I understand where you're coming from. I was willing to end my own career just to shut you up at WrestleMania. And he presents an eye patch that he claims he got from Jean-Pierre Lafitte. PCO apparently gave him this. And this leads to... Well, actually, Seth calls out Murphy to beat up Owens. Alistair makes a save. And this leads to Murphy versus Alistair, which, I don't know, where does this go?
5 minutes?
A minute?
No.
And a quick match. And Alistair hit the black mass. Seth pulled him out of the ring for the DQ.
Yeah, lame finish, but, they didn't want to, I guess they didn't want to do a pin in this one. And, it was basically a prelude to the Owens and Seth match, which went a long time.
So Ray, and this is where the show was just like, so they do the match and they go to commercial, and Ray and Dominic run down to the ring. And so we've got Ray, Dominic, and Alistair. They're all surrounding the ring. They're cornering Seth Rollins. So Seth Rollins,
it's basically like 4-on-1 on the heel.
Yes, it's 4-on-1 on the heel. It's Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Every time Seth Rollins tries to go outside or whatever, the baby faces are there, cornering him and preventing him from doing anything and getting him back into the ring. So finally, he overcomes the odds and manages to get the heat. Owen makes a big comeback, and they fight up top. Seth gouges his eye right in front of the referee. I have no idea how the ref didn't see or hear it. Alistair and Dominic both jump up on the apron, so we've now got 3 of these baby faces all trying to screw Seth Rollins. He's trying to deal with 3 people. He eats the stunner from Kevin Owens, and he gets pinned.
Ray also was Ray's distraction that led to the stunner. Like, the other distractions led to him not following up with, because he was about to curb stomp Owens, and then Black got on the apron, and that
yes, the point is 3 people screwed him, allowing Kevin Owens to get the pin.
Yes, that's what happened. Yes, it was, from a psychology standpoint, it was lacking greatly.
And then Ray cuts a promo vowing, "You will walk into our match with 2 eyes. You'll be carried out with only 1. All right. Well, I'll see what happens I'll see what happens on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
A Flair meeting with the Big Show. Flair cuts his big promo. Big Show's the best big man he's ever seen in this business.
It was so weird. He mentions Hanson, Brody, and Andre, but he won't mention Undertaker or Kane.
Well, they're...
You can't say anything. I mean, he probably couldn't say anything bad about Kane, but, I mean, there's no way. Like, he's allowed to say Big Show's better than Bruiser, Brody, Stan Hansen, and Andre. but there's no way they could let him say that he's better than Undertaker. Or, thank God he didn't like bring up like Giant Gonzalez or some, he's Big Show's a lot better than Giant Gonzalez. Or
So
great
Seth,
colleague.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Ric Flair tries to convince him to just go home, go to the Hall of Fame healthy, not with an injury that Orton's going to give you.
Go back to Hollywood and do your Netflix show is basically what he told him, yeah.
So Show says, I know what you tried to do. You're a master of it. You're the dirtiest player in the game. I know what you've done to Randy. He might be the best WWE has ever seen. I know what he's done to Edge and Christian. But tonight he's facing one of our friends, R-Truth. Are you willing to sacrifice your friendships so Randy can be the Legend Killer? Apparently R-Truth and Ric Flair are best buds. I was unaware of that, but...
Yeah, for 20 years.
That's a new storyline.
Yeah.
Then Randy Orton...
Doesn't everybody like R-Truth?
Well, I think everybody likes him, but I mean, all of a sudden now it's some WWE storyline that Ric Flair's one of his best friends is R-Truth.
Well, it's funny because all these guys, like Randy Orton will talk about how you're in the business for 20 years and you have very few friends, yet everyone is everyone's friend, even when they feuded with each other. Like Randy Orton was best friends with Edge and Christian, and granted, him and Edge were a team, but he feuded with Christian. I don't remember him well, it doesn't matter. And then Ric Flair was everybody's best friend, which he kind of was, I suppose. But, he's Big Show's best friend. He's Randy Orton's best friend. He's R-Truth's best friend. Probably Rey Mysterio's best friend. It's everyone's best friend.
Well, Randy talks about all his best friends, including Edge and Christian, who he had to punt. And he says, Big Show, we have a history together. I've known you for 20 years. You took me under
He's
your
another
wing.
best friend. He's another best friend.
That's why it baffles me that you'd rather avenge a few fractured skulls than maintain this friendship with me. And then he says, there's Ric Flair. He's family to me. So it would be a shame if Rick did anything to jeopardize what we have. As far as my match tonight, Truth, you have all my respect. He's one of Truth's best friends, too. Which is why it'll be a shame when all this amounts to is one more chapter in the long history of the Legend Killer. So they're making it abundantly clear. At some point, Randy is killing Ric Flair. And it seems sooner rather than later.
It certainly seemed that was the direction they were going. Yeah.
So we have Randy versus R-Truth, and Truth tries a quick distraction, gets like one spot, Randy kills him with the RKO, and he's dead. Orton then starts to leave, but
30-second match, yeah.
Changes his mind and sets up for the punt. Out comes the Big Show. And Randy says, don't take one more step or I'm going to punt this guy. He says, when I punted Edge and Christian, it hurt me more than it hurt them. I was never going to punt Truth. His name wasn't on the punt list, but yours is. He challenges him for Raw next week in an unsanctioned match. And then Show disobeys his rule. He hits the ring and Randy Orton just leaves. Doesn't give the punt to R-Truth. So, unsanctioned match next week sounds like the end of Big Show for a while. MVP and Lashley are jaw-jacking with Ricochet and Cedric. And MVP vows to win. Lashley says he'll destroy Ricochet tonight. Sarah then finds Drew.
They still did the tease of MVP trying to recruit Cedric. It was very slight. And Cedric acknowledged that, he'd never do it. So they may be turning Cedric on Ricochet.
So then this was what you mentioned earlier that I can't believe I forgot this. Sarah runs up to Drew. She wants to know how he's preparing, not knowing what the stipulation is. He says 2 words. Dolph attacks him. It's pulled apart. This lasted like 5 seconds. I was no more excited after this than I was after the first angle they did on the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to do? It wasn't... Especially when you do pull apart in that thing where, it felt very, when you do the stuff in that backstage empty room, it feels a lot more staged than when you do it in front of the people.
We had Lashley Ricochet. I don't know how long it went, not long. Full Nelson finish. I feel like I've seen Lashley beat up Ricochet like 5 times on this show over the last 2 months. Am I wrong about that?
Pretty much regularly, yeah. It was so much that, the way it was going, that I was going like, they can't beat him again because it's like they've beaten him a million times now. Now it's like Ricochet's time to get that quick win that means absolutely nothing, but then they can say they did it. But in fact, he tapped to a full Nelson, so it didn't even happen here.
Let me tell you something. If they chose Dolph Ziggler for this match against Drew because they did not want to beat Lashley again, and instead Lashley loses a banana peel slip to Ricochet, I would be very angry.
Well, they pushed that frickin' 365 thing, so I figured that, they would do something for Ricochet rather than squash him. They'd give him something.
Charlie's with the Big Show. The Big Show's already accepted the challenge. Charlie goes up to the Big Show and says, "It appears you accepted the challenge. Is that the case?" Big Show says, "Yes," and he leaves.
Well,
Dude.
just trying to clarify it to make sure everyone knows that there's going to be a match next week.
Well, Sasha and Bayley versus Kabuki Warriors. This saved the show for me. I loved this match. It was 1,000 times better than that Sasha Bayley Nikki Alexa match on SmackDown, which was a total
that match wasn't any good. I mean, this match was good, but it was a good match.
And well over 20 minutes. Kyrie gets a hot tag. She gets cut off. And then Asuka gets a second hot tag. They're doing all these near falls. Bayley tries to interfere.
It was under 15.
Dude, hold on a second here. What are you telling me?
14 minutes, 51 seconds.
Are you counting commercial breaks?
Only the 30 seconds that they work in the commercial break, not the whole break, because the whole break, I mean, it's on a live show, I would count the whole break, but when it's not, they usually do about 15, 20 seconds between. So, yes. So no, not including the commercial break. Or including some of the commercial break, I guess.
Because this match started at 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's 20 minutes until the show ended. And the match ended 1 minute before the show went off the air. So They had 20 minutes for this match. Anyway, Sasha got the ropes. Kyrie got a blind tag. Axe kick on Sasha. Kyrie hits a giant elbow on Sasha, but Bayley yanks her out of the ring. And finally, Kyrie goes for the sliding D. Sasha avoids it, puts her in a bank statement, and gets the submission. So that sets up, obviously, the Sasha versus Asuka match coming up on Sunday. Thought it was a very good main event. Clean finish. Great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Too little, too late. I mean, it was just, I don't know. I mean, after the SmackDown show, I think any show was going to look good to me. Because that SmackDown show was brutal.
That was the biggest waste of time.
Yeah. I do think the karaoke segment on the SmackDown show was maybe the worst WWE segment of the year. Because it was like, it's not that it was so bad, which it was, but the key is that you had 4 people in that segment, and all 4 looked like, all 4 were over less when it was over. I mean, like, they made Dana Brooke, who granted they don't do anything with, they made her look like a goof. They made Tamina look like a goof. They turned Lacey Evans, which was like, if they were going to turn her, that wasn't the way to do it. And then, Naomi didn't look the worst of the 4 and got to win, but I don't think it helped her either. She made, because just being in
that segment didn't help anybody.
Just
nobody.
Being in that segment, I think made everybody look like, prelim, like nobody's, like joke fodder. So yeah, no, that segment was terrible. It was a terrible segment. And the match, made everybody look like amateurs too.
So apparently we also were supposed to get Ray's eyeball popping out and dangling all over the place, and Vince chickened out.
They taped, so the match was taped ahead of time. That it was taped earlier in the day, so it did not go live because of that finish. They wanted to make sure that everything looked right, and then they had the finish, and Vince didn't like the finish. The finish was, the viewers seeing the eye pop out, and when Vince saw it, he felt that it wasn't good to be seen, so he had that edited out. So
come on, buddy. Dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna sign
really
a match like
looking.
this and then chicken out at the end. Of course it's gonna be gross looking. You announced that a guy's eyeball was gonna pop out. Then you film it and you're like, oh, it's too gross. No shit.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea of everything was completely stupid to begin with, but it did get a lot of attention. I don't know if that relay is going to relate to anything. As far as I guess the TV rating will indicate if there was any of that curiosity, the first hour rating or whatever of the show, or the overall rating. I mean, I'm sure it'll be up from last week anyway, but, from the Google searches, they had a ton of searches for Rey Mysterio and the Eye and everything like that. So it actually doubled the attention that a normal B pay-per-view would get. So, and that was the reason why. So whether that translates to anything, I don't know, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's good. And even if the rating is up for 1 week, it doesn't necessarily mean, anything other than right now. Obviously, if you watch the show and if you've paid attention to the last couple of weeks, they are, more than any time in a long, long time, out for the week rather than the big picture. The two rematches next week's show is to make sure that they don't drop off. The Drew McIntyre and Ziggler, because originally, so there's a lot, so they rewrote the TV. They were rewriting it last night. They rewrote it again today. Some of it was based on Asuka. It was beating Sasha Banks in that match. That was the plan. And then Vince changed it so they would have the rematch, which was not on tonight's show, but will be on next week's show, which was also taped today. So they did that angle. And also they were going to shoot a Dolph Ziggler, a Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton SummerSlam angle tonight. And it may still have been taped. I presume it was taped for the second show that was taped today. I don't know that as a fact, because I was told in the afternoon that angle taping is still on, but it could have been for the second show. So they did not do that because they're doing Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler for the title in a rematch, which makes no sense why you would have a rematch. But I think it's not about making sense. A lot, if you actually look at the finishes of almost every match tonight, they make no sense, but that's another issue.
So hold on a second. Is that Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre match next week?
Next week on television, yes.
It is next week, okay. Because they never said. In fact, the only thing that Drew said was, if I had 2 weeks, I wouldn't tell you what the stipulation is.
He said 2 weeks, and then later in the show, they advertised it for next week.
Okay, so all right. So they got to do that match before they shoot the angle with Randy Orton, obviously.
So they didn't want. It makes no sense to shoot the angle with Randy Orton before you're doing that match. So they delayed that for a week, among other things that changed. With the Kyrie stuff, I guess we could go over the results of these matches. We would talk about the matches, but the pretty much, I think almost every result on tonight's show seemed to make no sense at all. I can't even, I've even asked people, and it's like, well, what are you going to say? They made no sense. Kairi Sane is leaving. Today was supposed to be her last day. As far as I know, it's still her last day. But again, they tape the show next week. So if she's leaving, why, when Bayley beat Nikki Cross a million times in a row, who's staying, why would Bayley lose a non-title match to Kairi Sane? Unless they're building up for a title match next week, which they didn't advertise. And the original idea was that, of course they can always change that, but this was still the idea as of yesterday was for Kairi Sane to be injured, and the person who injures her, which from TV tonight would look to be Shayna Baszler, which is so Baszler was brought back as a backup to injure Kyrie, and it looks like she's going to be the backup because Natalya was originally scripted in that role, but she's been kept off. As far as I know, Natalya does not have COVID, but she's been off TV for weeks. And I know she was off originally because of TJ was really sick, but he did not test positive either. But they decided to keep both of them off. But that would have been the last set of tapings, so it must have something must have happened for her to still be off. But Shayna's been put in, Shayna's been put in that spot, and I don't know that it's Asuka and Shayna at SummerSlam. At one point, it was. I guess next week we'll tell the deal, as far as what they do on next week's television show. But yeah, things just constantly changing, right now. The whole show was, like I said, the whole show was written. They started taping 3 or 4 hours after they were supposed to. Today, they were going to tape early because they had 2 shows to tape and 2 sets of main events to tape. So there you go.
Well, the show did open up with Tom Phillips telling us that it is expected that Ray will be able to maintain his vision and make a full recovery in time. That's the medical update.
I think that the odds are very strong that Ray is re-signing, but he has not yet. It's still to be determined. So that's the situation there.
So Seth comes out, cuts a promo, talking about popping out Ray's eye was so disgusting, but it's all the fans' fault. The fans turned him into the Monday Night Messiah, and they got
Wasn't that Bray Wyatt who did that?
And I don't know what the storyline is, but I guarantee that I did not turn him into the Monday Night Messiah, because I
don't think anyone did.
Begged for him to be anything except the Monday Night Messiah. So Aleister Black comes out, and Murphy goes after him. Aleister lays out Murphy. Murphy jumps him. Aleister lays him out a second time, and this leads to the opener, which is Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black. And the one thing I've noticed about this show, and it's actually kind of irritating, so the matches have gotten longer now because they've got so few wrestlers. And so now these matches are long, and they're built around commercial breaks. And so the first...
They've always been... Really,
this is more so than ever. Now it's like the first whole segment is just, we're going to waste time doing nothing, and then we'll do whatever we're doing to go to the commercial. Then when we come back, they'll
do a dive or
get
something.
into the match. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're doing this match, and Aleister's making this comeback. Murphy hits the ring. Aleister lays him out. We got a commercial. Come back. Seth goes for a spring.
That was ridiculous that there was no DQ. I mean, he just ran in the ring.
Well, he ran in the ring, but their stupid rule. He didn't touch Aleister. Aleister touched him.
He was running right after him.
I know. It's a dumb rule.
No, but it's ridiculous.
So,
I mean, and right in front of the referee. I know someone's going to go. They do it in AEW too, which they do, but it's ridiculous there too.
So Seth cuts him off, tries a springboard knee. Aleister goes for a German. Seth just avoids the German, hits a curb stomp. Even the fans in attendance, like the air goes out of their sails because they know what's about to happen. And Seth covers and pins Aleister Black clean in the middle. 1, 2, 3. What?
Mm-hmm. That's only the first.
Guys like Aleister Black need to be winning on this show. They need to be elevated on this show. Why are we beating him clean in the middle?
I think that is a very different philosophy. Aleister Black was Paul Heyman guy. And the difference right now, and you're right, you're 100% right. They need to be making new stars and everything, but the mentality now is that they've got their guys that they're going to build around, and they're looking at, those are the guys that are going to go over the people. But then again, how do you explain Bayley and Kairi Sane's finish? You don't. But yeah, this is the first of the finishes that when you look at it, it makes no sense. I mean, it's like Seth just won last night. Seth hardly needs the win. I mean, I'm not a big advocate of DQ finishes, but given that Buddy Murphy ran in, you could have done it. You could have done that finish. Beating Aleister Black right now with the curb stomp. I mean, it doesn't really help Seth. And who does it help Seth for? A rematch with Ray again? You know what I mean? I mean, it just, and here's another one. What happened to Kevin Owens?
Good question.
I mean, he didn't do a run-in. He wasn't on the show. I don't even think he was mentioned, was he?
I did not hear any mention of Kevin Owens.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what happened with him. I mean, Maybe they just had to, it could have been that, well, if Kevin Owens comes in, then it makes no sense to beat Aleister Black, so we'll keep him off. It could be that. I don't know.
Well, not only did they beat him clean in the middle with the curb stomp, but they beat the shit out of him afterwards. They pummeled him. Yep. They left him for dead. They destroyed his arm. And Seth even mocked him for having no friends to come out and help. I couldn't even believe my eyes. I mean, I could, but it's ridiculous.
I guess that explained, maybe that was scripted in, and the idea of if Kevin Owens was there, he would have to have made a save. And, maybe that's why, again, maybe that was done because he wasn't there. Maybe he wasn't there because they decided to do this. I don't know.
They claim that Apollo is still the U.S. champion. We have Ron Simmons meeting with MVP and Lashley telling them, think about what I told you. There's a better way. So Truth shows up.
Okay, so hold on. So there is there was an idea. I don't know if it was dropped. Originally, it was going to be on the show for a revamping of the Nation of Domination, and Ron Simmons was going to be a part of that angle, but they dropped that angle for this show. They may be building to it later. They may have dropped it completely. But they had brought him in for that angle. So therefore, that's why he was on television, because they had already decided.
A revamp of the Nation of Domination.
Yes.
That was from 23 years ago, I believe.
Was it 23 or 24? I guess 23, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because Ron Simmons was Farouk as a single, I guess, 24 years ago. So I think it was 97 with Rock. Yeah, I think so. And Owen Hart and Mark Henry, right? Mark Henry was in it. Look, how many times do we talk about this? This is a company. It's like nothing I've ever seen before in any wrestling company. It's funny because Vern Gagne was a little bit like this. With Vern, like time stood still because he got, when you get old, things slow down or something. I mean, I guess it seems sometimes actually they speed up, but this year they slow down. But the deal is that, this really is what hit me is I saw tomorrow night on FS1, they've got, one of those old, the show from 2006. I think it's SummerSlam 2006 is the show that they got. And if you look at that lineup, it's like, with one or two exceptions, and those are the guys like Jericho and Moxley that are in AEW. For the most part, all of the guys in that card are in WWE today in similar spots as they were 4 years ago. And if you go through the history of wrestling, of any successful business, any territory, and you pick a big card from, like, let's say, 4 years apart, I mean, there will be people, the local heroes. There will be, a couple people that will be there. But ostensibly, most of the guys on the card are going to be new, and the programs are going to be new, and there'll be some people will be down on the card. There'll be a lot of new people on the card that weren't there before, that, and all this. And this one, it's like it's the same people. It's like, they keep, Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton, and, it's just all the same people. They've been there forever. It moves way too slow. I think that's among the many issues that there is, and there's lots of them. You look at WWE in 84 and then in 88, or 88 and 92, you're going to have some people that would be on those cards in similar positions, but there's also going to be a lot of people that have moved up. There are going to be a lot of people that moved down, and there are going to be a lot of people that are new. And, here we got some people who are new, but they're not, they're in almost all cases, especially right now, they're made to be insignificant.
Well, R-Truth shows up in this segment with MVP and Lashley, and he He's talking, and he gets jumped from behind by Shelton Benjamin. Shelton pins Truth. He wins the 24/7 title. And then they just invite Shelton out with them. So apparently they're now a 3-person crew. I mean, just out of nowhere. I mean, no build, no nothing. Just he showed up, he won the title, and now he's part of the crew.
Well, because that was what they were going to do. There probably were other people involved with that as well.
So MVP cuts a promo and makes fun of Ricochet and Cedric. He calls them Dumb and Dumber. They literally come out and Cedric says, Dumb and Dumber would have been relevant in 2006, but not today.
When you were,
dude,
when your career was relevant.
2006. That movie came out in 1994.
Okay, but MVP was there. Wasn't MVP there like in I guess maybe he arrived in 2006. Because what I remember with MVP was 2007 when he won over Chris Benoit in 2 straight falls because Chris Benoit was like going to really put him over strong. Like that happens now, but and that was not too long before Benoit died. So I think that's 2007. But yeah,
definitely
2006 is probably when MVP arrived and got that giant push. So that's why they used that thing. And yeah, well. So that's where the year comes from, not the year the Dumb and Dumber came out. But yes, you're right. They, whatever.
Well, regardless, Ricochet and Cedric won a match, and MVP says, pick any 2 of us. And they said, oh, it doesn't matter. We got a 3rd guy. It's Mustafa Ali. And so we got Ali, Ricochet, and Cedric versus Shelton, MVP, and Lashley. And believe it or not, Mustafa Ali got a hot tag. Ends up in the ring with MVP after everybody gets laid out with a dive. Ali hits a neck breaker and a 450 splash, and he gets the pin. So there was at least one finish where a new young guy won a match. So
yeah, but it makes no sense because aren't they building the MVP in Apollo Crews? When Apollo Crews is back from COVID?
You'd think so.
I mean, you would think so, right?
I mean, unless they figure he's not coming back anytime soon, which would be worrisome.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about that is that, I mean, you can beat MVP. You could beat Shelton Benjamin. You know, the one they're protecting is Bobby Lashley out of that group. So, and those guys, Alexander and Ricochet have been losing week after week after week. So, giving them a win. I mean, I can sort of get that finish, I guess. I mean, I guess I didn't want to beat Shelton Benjamin right after he won the 24/7 title.
Well, maybe we can have the deal where Ali gets a push and then he gets the match against MVP and they beat him. Put him right back where he
That would make no sense, but of course that could easily happen.
I mean, it happened on Friday, Dave, so I think it does make sense.
Well, it could be. Now, you got to remember that Ali was going to get a big push on SmackDown as the hacker, which I guess has been dropped now. And they moved him to Raw. So maybe, because MVP's, it could be that since they were going to push him, Ali anyway, that he will actually get a chance. I mean, somebody's got to.
Randy Orton cuts
they can't be so deep and stubborn, and stubborn's not even the word. It's like they have to know that they have to push people, and somebody they're going to go in there and
yeah, but it's going to be somebody we've seen for 30 years. Like, I would bet you good money that they're debuting Ali, so they gave him a win. MVP beats him next week, and he ends up at the exact same level as Ricochet and Cedric.
Well, you could be very well right.
I mean, what evidence do we have to the contrary? None? None.
Not any lately. Not any lately. Their record for pushing guys is atrocious right now. I mean, especially new guys. Other than Drew, I mean, they've done a great job with Drew. You can't argue that one. But that's, but as far as everyone else goes, they... Well,
I mean, they did a great job with Drew, and they got rid of Paul Heyman, but Drew was the champion at the time, so... I mean, I guess they could have had Dolph beat him.
They haven't given up on Drew yet.
They haven't given up on him, but I would bet dollars to donuts there's a decent chance Randy Orton beats him at SummerSlam.
I think there's a real good chance of that. Yeah. I would think it would make. I wouldn't do it, but it would not. That would not surprise me in the least.
So Orton does his promo. It is an excellent promo. Is talking about all these great moments. His favorite of which was 175 days ago when he destroyed Edge's surgically repaired neck. Talks about taking out Edge, Christian. Now he's going to take out the Big Show tonight. Says Edge's best friend came to his aid, ruined his chance for one last match, and tonight he's going to enjoy immensely, ending the Big Show's career once and for all. We have Ron Simmons talking to the Viking Raiders. So I think something is happening here, Dave. I think, especially with Shelton being added to the group, seems to be the direction. Big Show video package, and then Christian cuts a promo via satellite, they claim. It's probably Skype. And he says, I knew what I was getting myself into. I wasn't expecting what happened. All my respect for Ric Flair out the window. Not sure I'm ever going to be the same. Some days are better than others. I don't feel good, but I would endure it one more time if it guaranteed Randy would get what was coming to him. And he says, Big Show's going to be ready for all of these traps. I can't wait for the Big Show to knock Randy's ass out cold. So we have Sarah with Bianca Belair.
So that's like the whole big thing of, the last time Christian was on for the match with Randy Orton, they did a good rating. So, I think that the mentality was we got to get Christian on TV in some form because there's really no reason, and he wasn't there. So it was just, during the day they started advertising Christian's going to be on the show. I was like, okay, so that was the deal. I think they just felt that again, everything is done for like 1 week, or not everything, but so much is done for this week and next week's television rating. It's just a completely not stuff as far as like building stories or certainly not building new talent or, which would help the ratings in the long term. It's just like get familiar guys on TV in some form.
We had Sarah with Bianca Belair, who has to explain the EST gimmick every single time she does a promo now. And Peyton shows up, and then Ruby, they're yelling at each other. Billie Kay is not there. Peyton says she is off handling business. That did not sound good.
No, it never sounds good when something like that. I don't know what the story is yet on her.
So ends up with a challenge for what I thought was going to be Bianca versus Peyton, but instead it was Peyton versus Ruby, which it was fine. It was short, quick match. Peyton's matches are always better when they're not tag matches with Billie, and she gets pinned. Ruby's so happy she cries, and that's a segment. This Bianca Belair, by the way, she's got the charisma of like every other woman on the roster put together. And she did a promo, and then she just vanished. We never saw her again.
Yeah, she could be a big star. But no Liv Morgan for another week.
So Charlie, I swear to God, she meets with Angel, Andrade, and Zelina, and she asks the exact same question that she asked last week. How are you going to be on the same page for your match tonight? Zelina answers the exact... I thought I was watching last week's show. I thought there was like some glitch on my DVR. Zelina says, we're all on the same page, and we have been for a while. And anyway, the Street Profits show up, and they attack Angel and Andrade, and that leads to the match. So, another match totally built around commercials. They do this big hot tag. Ford's doing all these dives. They go to commercial. They come back. Street Profits now have Andrade in holds. They've got him in an arm bar. And then they cut off Montez, and they get back into the actual match. Dawkins gets a tag, and he goes up top, gets crotched. Angel tries to superplex him. Montez ends up cutting him off, hits a giant frog splash. Kind of like a rotating frog splash, gets the pin. Last 2 minutes were good, but...
Montez Ford looked tremendous in this match.
Yes.
Athletically... He's got some athletic gifts that nobody in this business has. Not even like Sonata when it comes to jumping. Guy freaking can jump like crazy. So his frog splash is the best frog splash I've ever seen. His leapfrogs are great. When he does that running dive over the top, he flies over the top. Obviously in other ways he's not quite there yet, but and the charisma's obviously there as well. But yeah, he can be a superstar as a single or these guys as a tag team. But now, why would they win the non-title match? I mean, that is the most baffling thing in the world. This is almost like watching these finishes was almost like watching Vince Russo. Because if you remember, like 20 years ago, actually 21 years ago, when Vince Russo was trying to explain, it's like, okay, the logical thing is like, it's a non-title match. You got the champions, Street Profits. Garza and Andrade have been built up for weeks. They keep beating the Viking Raiders, obviously building for the title match. Originally, the original plan for SummerSlam was the title match with the Street Profits against these guys. They looked like they were actually building it for the last pay-per-view, but the Street Profits were out like everybody, else. And so they couldn't do it. They didn't know if they could do it, and obviously didn't do it for the last pay-per-view. So instead of doing it and they still may be doing it for this pay-per-view, but if you're doing it, why would you have the challengers lose the non-title match if you're building to a title match? And if you were going to beat them, why would they keep beating the Viking Raiders to, become the top contenders and talking about the title? If they lose the non-title match, why didn't you just make it a title match and move on? Or if you're not going to have them win, or if it's a non-title match, shouldn't they win? This made no sense at all.
Not only that, if you're going to do this finish,
my point on this with Russo is that Vince Russo's mentality that he used to say was, well, of course you would do it. So what we do is we fool people. Okay. So in fact, they did in fact fool me because the obvious logical thing didn't happen. So what they did was they will either never give us this title match that they were spending a month plus and maybe longer building, well longer actually, because they were starting to build the Garza Andrade team for the tag team championship. It was not at the end of the Heyman run. This was even before that. So they've been building this thing for, quite a while. So it's
well, once you switch out a writer, like everything's out the window.
It's okay. That's fine. But why not at least, why beat them in the non-title match when, they beat the Viking Raiders just last week to earn a title match. So why would you beat them in a non-title match?
I have no idea why you would win a match to determine a title match and then it wasn't a title match. But, I mean, listen, all that aside, if Angel and Andrade are going to lose, I mean, as soon as those I figured, okay, well, they're going to break up again. And Selena's going to have to get them back together, whatever. They go to commercial, they come back, and Selena's yelling at them, and she says, you guys got to get on the same page. And they say, well, we are on the same page. And that's the segment.
Yep.
Now, when I saw that, my first thought was, I hope them being on the same page is not, we both want to get rid of Zelina, and they dump her, because that is insanity.
Yeah. That would be pretty bad, yeah.
Sasha and Bayley come out with all of the belts, and they're celebrating, blah, blah, blah. And Stephanie appears on the screen, and she announces that, congratulations to you guys on the tag titles. Congratulations, Bayley, SmackDown title. But Raw Women's title, you did not win last night, Sasha. But Asuka, she says, you did not win either. And so next week, we're going to have a championship match, determine who is the rightful women's title holder. You can lose via pinfall, submission, DQ, count out. To put it bluntly, if Bayley interferes, you will lose, Sasha. So, 2 title matches next week. This actually was what I asked for last night. An authority figure who isn't a heel, but just somebody that tells you what's going on.
They did that.
Great. By the way, speaking of authority figures, Regal has got a big announcement coming up on NXT. And I don't know what it is, but when I saw that, I figured the announcement was going to be that Keith Lee has to vacate a title and there's going to be a tournament.
Could be. That would make the double title unification make sense, wouldn't it?
Well, it made no sense when they signed it, so you may as well have it make no sense splitting them.
Yeah. I just figured that they're looking, again, they think that if they announce a big announcement, it'll, Wednesday's the most competitive night of all. You've got, everyone's throwing in these giant, giant announcements. I mean, that's Taz with the FTW title or whatever. It's announcements that change the entire business. That's, anything to get the viewers away from the other show.
So we had Kyrie and Bayley, and they had a very good match. In the middle of it, they show Shayna watching on backstage. Charlie walks up and says, quote, "Shayna, excuse me, do you have a vested interest in this match?" So Shayna says, "I've beaten every woman in the locker room. I have no match tonight. Should I sit in catering? Should I go out there and be a fan? Nobody deserves the spotlight more than me. So yes, I guess I have a vested interest in this match." Does anybody talk like this?
So like now, I guess now in wrestling, sitting in catering is like the term for people, pretty much people that like they got nothing going on. So they use that term all the time.
I'm pretty sure that's always what sitting in catering has been.
Yeah.
So they go over Bayley comes back, goes for a suplex. Kyrie turns into a DDT. They hit all sorts of near falls back and forth. Kyrie smashes her with the back fist. So that's 2 times this month that Bayley has been smashed with the back fist. And finally, they both hit the elbow off the top. Bayley goes for the belly to Bayley. And Kyrie turns into a cradle and pins her clean in the middle. I was not expecting that.
If she's leaving and the other one's been getting this big push, I mean, you can, again, I mean, look, if you want to make wins and losses mean nothing, do whatever you want. But this finish made, I mean, unless Kyrie's not leaving, but, this was supposed to be her, like today was supposed to be her last, today was supposed to be her last day.
I mean, if they taped another show, then you can do the Kyrie title challenge. Bayley beats her. Shayna comes out, kills her. That's the end of that.
You can do that, and that may be what they're doing. So that would lead to, I mean,
but I have no idea why you would. I mean, if you're so worried about ratings, why didn't you announce that match? I mean, it wasn't like this was the final match on the show. There was another 40 minutes.
Well, I mean, okay. So if that's the case, shouldn't Kyrie, as soon as she wins, issue a challenge? And shouldn't that match be on SmackDown, not on Raw?
Technically, the match should be on SmackDown, yes.
Yeah, maybe. But then, if that's the case, then they. But again, SmackDown's already been taped though. For next week, SmackDown was taped on Friday.
Oh, maybe they did the match then. I don't know. I guess not, because they rewrote this show. So that would make that
because on this
unlikely.
show was originally the Kyrie angle was originally on this show.
Yeah. So Drew comes out for a promo, and out comes Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph is begging for another match, and Drew says, "Dude, you picked the stip. I beat you 24 hours ago. The answer is no. Bugger off," he says. And Drew says, "I'm starting to feel bad for you. I'm going to save you the embarrassment. I'm just going to leave." Goes to leave. Dolph grabs him. Drew lays him out. Drew leaves. Dolph grabs a mic and says, "You son of a bitch. Anything you want. You name the stip anytime, any place. Give me that match." One of the wrestlers in the crowd screams, "Eye for an eye!" So Drew says...
It wasn't that embarrassing.
Drew says, "Listen, I accept." He goes to leave. Dolph wants to know the stip. Drew says, "Dude, I ain't telling you the stip until right before the bell rings." So next week, we'll find out what the stipulation to destroy Dolph Ziggler ends up being. We have a Big Show promo. I'm not sure he's done talking yet, actually. I thought this was like a Hall of Fame speech. I mean, he talked and talked and talked. And I thought he was almost done, and then he talked for like another 25 minutes. And it wasn't like a horrible promo or anything like that. Like,
it's actually a good promo.
He's got good delivery, but I don't think it needed to go as long as it did. It went exceptionally long. And long story short, he is not going to let Randy write the end of his story. So they do Big Show, Randy Orton unsanctioned match. And
so the whole thing, now that I think about it, wasn't the whole thing that they were building towards whether like Ric Flair would, like go against his longtime 20-year friend, the Big Show, and choose Randy Orton over his friend at the end? And then there's no, I guess
there's no Ric Flair.
Ric Flair not being, Ric Flair not being there is obviously a case of, well, if it's, either he's got it or more likely because his wife has it, it's like, don't come in, which makes all the sense in the world. Like when TJ was sick, Natalya was pulled from everything. So they're being, they're being safe in that regard.
So they did this match. It was very slow. Angel and Andrade ran out and attacked Big Show. Viking Raiders made the save. After commercial, Show makes his big comeback, misses a Vader bomb through a table. Orton gives him the RKO. Big Show kicks out. Randy gets a chair, gives him a couple of chair shots, hits him with a draping DDT.
A lot of chair shots.
Another RKO, gets the pin. And then afterwards, he gives him the big punt. Big Show sells it like he's dead. Randy Orton says, I told you, just like all the others, one more legend down. And so, there you go. That's the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Raw. Show opens up with Randy Orton coming out for a promo. And keep in mind that the main event of the show was scheduled to be Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre.
Okay, so I can tell you what's going on there. So this was taped a week ago. So it's not like this show's from tonight. So if you remember last week, it was a championship match, and it was actually advertised most of this week as a championship match, and then at the end they switched to non-title. So, and there were so many changes made, like including the Asuka and, the whole Asuka and Sasha Banks stuff, was all changed. I mean, originally Asuka was going to defend the title at SummerSlam against, whoever injured Kyrie, and that was as of, at least Sunday night. I think it was either Sunday night or Monday morning of last week, right before the tapings, where they switched that all, when they tore that all up. So anyway, as far as, so the deal is if you remember last week, one of the segments was going to be this Randy Orton segment where he goes to challenge for the title, and that was torn up. And obviously it was torn up because they were going to do the title match on this show. And they talked about the title match on this show. And then, I guess within an hour, they decided that, well, I guess they just wanted to make sure that the Randy Orton-Drew McIntyre match at SummerSlam was promoted this week because they didn't promote it last week originally. They delayed it for a week. But they promoted it before that match, the Ziggler match, and he was directly challenging McIntyre. He didn't challenge the winner. So, in fact, because they were doing it that way, they had to make it a non-title match and also because McIntyre did the promo for Orton before his match. So we end up with that's the whole deal where we have now a non-title match. But when you're changing things every 5 minutes, that's what happens. You do something because you're desperate for this whole thing. The only reason McIntyre and Ziggler were even wrestling in a rematch after that decisive win was because they needed something they didn't know last week's rating at the time they taped it, but they sure as hell knew the week before, which was the 1,561,000 number. So they were real big on, last week's number, which was not particularly good. In fact, that's actually worse. And then this, whatever the number will be this week, it should be higher. I don't know that it will be. It probably will be a little bit higher, but but then you delayed your promotion of the SummerSlam main event. So anyway, that's the whole basic gist of what happened there.
So Randy runs down all of his accolades, says he's done more than The Rock and Steve Austin. Consistency. Says he's done what he wanted his entire career. Something's been missing. Hit him like a ton of bricks this morning, and that is that he wants to become the WWE champion again.
Yeah, so I got to say, that's another thing that these redundant interviews where you go in there and you do that. And I mean, it was like the first part of that interview was the past. And it's like, this is another problem. It's like, okay, Rock and Steve Austin and all that, you know, I mean, I didn't mind that line, but he's all in there about all of these things he did. I was in Legacy. No, but it doesn't even matter. I mean, it's like, I was going to say nobody remembers it because they kind of don't. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was something. I mean, it was certainly something, but it's like, why in 2020 are you bringing up Legacy? I mean, I can sort of see a quick mention of Evolution, but because Evolution was a pretty big deal. And then he mentioned, he actually didn't mention RKO, which I thought was going to be the next one. But he's just going on and on and on about the past in this promo. Delivered the promo great. This was, I have zero fault on Randy Orton, and I have 100% fault on these script writers who are, again, everyone's living in the fucking past. I mean, that's why if you want to appeal to a younger audience, you've got to not, keep glorifying 20 years ago, because to people watching the show, it's like, wow, remember when Randy Orton was a star even when it was good. It's like, that's not like, oh my God, remember Evolution. Wrestling was cool then. It's like, why are you doing this? So anyway, it's another example. And when that promo's going, it's like, by the time he gets to McIntyre, it's kind of like, oh, he used to wrestle stars. And, it's like everything should be like Drew McIntyre's better than all these guys. Drew McIntyre's it. Never says nothing like that. Never puts over,
actually, he did. He said that he respected Drew because he beat Brock Lesnar in a WrestleMania in quick fashion.
But he still was. Everything was still about the past, other than at the very end of the interview.
He at least mentioned that Drew made a big comeback at NXT, which nobody mentioned the last time they did this interview.
But still, over and over again, Drew was fired. How many times do I have to hear Drew was fired at this stage of the game?
Well, that's part of their branding of Drew. He was fired, and he fought his way back, and now he's the champion. So anyway,
okay. They've said, I'm so sick of hearing. I mean, it was fine when he first comes back. It's fine when he's in NXT. He was in NXT for a year or whatever it was. Did well there. Maybe even when he first comes on the roster, you kind of tell that story. He's the world champion, and you're still going back to he was fired because he was this and this. It's like, he wasn't good enough. We deemed him not good enough, even though as soon as he was fired, he ended up showing that he was better than most of the guys there after he left. But that doesn't even matter. But it's like, you're still like, he was fired years and years ago. I mean, they just continually talk about stuff so many years ago and not the present.
So Randy says he wants a shot at the title. It was a good interview. Nia comes out.
I thought his delivery was good. I thought the interview sucked until the very end. The very end, it was getting there, but I'm just watching this thing going like, it's everything wrong with the company. They're living in the goddamn past.
So Randy does his promo. His delivery's great. He's followed immediately by Nia, who comes out, and she's going to do a promo.
She almost starts with the same fucking thing.
1,000 years she cannot follow Randy Orton. This promo's dying. She says she knows exactly how Randy feels. She wants to be the Raw Women's Champion. Last time she had a title match against Asuka, she was screwed. I don't remember any of this. Charlotte prevented a rematch.
She was the referee screwed her the way the match went down.
Nobody has seen Charlotte since. These are all things, Dave, that no one actually remembers any of this.
Okay, but these actually just happened. I didn't mind any of that because it's at least in this is all the last 2 months. So, whatever. But it's Nia, but whatever. She's there. She's there. She did a promo.
So it's a bad promo. Shayna interrupts. And she says nobody gives a damn what Nia wants. Nia decks her. They get into this brawl. The refs come down. They break it up. And after commercial, they're gone.
I will say this. I would think that Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax would not be good. But they were... I think that someone just told them, just go out there and fight. Don't try to work. And that's what they pretty much did.
All the things on this show, you thought their brawl was good?
It was better than them trying to wrestle.
Well, I mean, that's low praise, Dave. I mean, I watched Nia Jax do a double leg takedown on Shayna Baszler. Are you fucking kidding me? It was the worst double leg I ever saw in my life. This was... I did
but
not think this was very good.
It's the only thing on the entire show that looked real. When I was watching them, it's like, this looks real. It looks like they're going out there and fighting.
Nia and Shayna, you thought looked like a real fight?
More than anything else on this show, everything else looked like pro wrestling. These two looked like they were out there and they were trying to fight and struggle with each other as opposed to playing and dancing with each other. It was different. They need to be different because if they tried to do the same as everybody else, it would be bad. Now, the one thing, holy crap, Shayna throws this head kick at Nia and she doesn't even register it. It's like, okay, like she's not trying to sell anything. They're both not trying to sell anything because in a real fight you don't. So, but still, when at least Shayna, when she got punched, went down, probably because the force of the punch put her down. But that head kick, which was worked, but it was still a cool looking head kick, and Nia just stands there and doesn't even get phased. It's like, at least, register it. But whatever. That kind of bothered me, but you could just tell that when they were out there, it's like they're trying to do something different. They just said, go in there and make it look like you're just, don't do any spots. We'll do a pull apart real quick and struggle like you're going to fight. And that's what it looked like.
Street Profits are in the ring. Third straight talking segment. They announced that the winners of the next match will face them for the titles at SummerSlam. They introduce all the teams. It's Viking Raiders, Ricochet, Cedric, and Andrade and Angel Garza.
Okay, so the whole premise of this match is basically right there in your face about how bad the booking is. Ricochet and Cedric lose every single match they have on television. Okay, I know they did win one 6-man tag last week, but they've lost every tag match that they've had practically, or I think not even practically, just pretty much. Well, okay, I know that they did. I think they got a win.
They lose a lot.
I think they beat Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne, but they also lost to him. But they mostly lose. The Viking Raiders got beat over and over by Andrade and Garza. And Andrade and Garza have already lost to the Street Profits, just a week ago. So it's like, what are these three teams? I mean, now granted, can I come up with better teams for this match to go for the title? No, I can't. They're the only teams out there other than you could put Bobby Lashley and MVP in there, but they had a different segment. So they are the three teams there. So all three teams that are in this match have been booked like crap coming into this match where they're going for the championship, where they're in this three-way going for a championship match. So it's like, this was, before the match even starts, it's already bad booking. And then, Andrade and Garza, who are the ones who should probably win, even though it's, it's like you've got two face teams and one heel team, and the heel team wins, which is, messed up psychology, but it's the best that they could do, given what the three teams are. And Andrade and Garza were the team that should win. But that whole thing, why did they do the non-title match last week? It's ridiculous.
Well, not only that, we do this match. There are zero teases of dissension. Andrade and Angel Garza work together great. They win the match clean. Garza hits the wing clipper on Cedric. And now it's Street Profits versus Garza and Angel. Angel and Andrade, they attack Street Profits at the announce table. They leave together. They're a united front. It's like, dude, I've been watching these guys almost break up for 6 months now. 3 months, whatever. And now it's just all out the window on top of everything else. So there you go.
But it's like everything else, because everything, there's no consistency to the booking. It's you can tell that they they don't even remember what they did last week.
That's pretty sad when last week was taped the same day.
Yeah, I know. But look at all the changes. Look at all the changes they did. Like, even after the first show, they did changes before the second show that's probably taped, 2 hours later. Or maybe even less. So, yeah, they're just, it's not very cohesive storylines. They need people to, but as long as wins and losses don't matter, I guess it just doesn't matter. And, it's not going to help them any, but, it's too bad it doesn't matter, but that's what they're teaching. They're basically teaching people, why should you care? It's like, why should I care that the Street Profits beat those guys? Because they're still getting a title shot, even though it makes no sense.
We had Nia and Shayna. They go 1 minute, count out, double count out finish.
It's freaking brutal.
They brawl again. I thought this brawl sucked. First off, this is where we had the double leg takedown, which was just ridiculous. Then they send out two random guys we've never seen before, so you know they're going to get beat up. One of them, Shayna chokes out. The other one, Nia tries to rip the shirt off the guy's head, but the guy's buttoned his shirt all the way up, so she can't get the shirt off of him. And so his shirt is stuck over his head. He can't see. Time stands still. Nia finally just gives up on trying to take the shirt off. The guy falls outside. Even though this was a taped show, they didn't retape this.
I don't understand why that wasn't retaped. I couldn't, like it's just like you said. I mean, yeah. They could have retaped the whole segment. It's not like they couldn't have done those 40 seconds over again for that match. It's like, I guess in their eyes, it feels like they're trying to do some sort of a program with those two. But, I mean, the problem with Nia and Shayna is, I think with their styles, it's going to be difficult for them to do a match more than about 3 minutes or 4 minutes. So I'm not sure what it's building towards. But I guess they'll probably do a TV match next week. And who knows who they're going to put over. Because I don't know where they're going, and they may not know where they're going either. I mean, Shayna was brought back for Asuka, and then they changed that too.
We had a Seth promo backstage. He wants to know if Buddy's ready for tonight. Buddy wants to know if Seth thinks that Dominic's going to show up, and Seth says yes. The greater good will move forward. Tonight it's going to be different. We have Ruby Riott and Bianca Belair talking to Mark Henry, and then Seth comes out for a promo. And he rattles on, asks Dominic to come down to the ring to face him. Dominic comes down, and basically Seth tries to recruit him. He offers a hug. Says, I know this is hard for you. I'm here for you if you need any help or guidance. Dominic double legs him. And the heels start beating him down 2-on-1. Seth is just killing this guy. He's beating on him. Finally, Aleister Black runs down. He's got his arm in a cast. They immediately destroy Aleister Black. This beating goes on for like an hour. They're beating him. They're smashing him. They're beating him. Dominic is dead. Finally, Aleister gets killed with the curb stomp. He's dead. Seth then says, Murphy, you need to take out this guy's eye. Murphy's like, what? Seth says, are you a part of this or not? And so Murphy grabs Aleister, and he pushes his eyeball into the corner of the steps. So in the last 2 weeks, Wile E. Coyote here, Aleister Black, he's got his arm broken. Now it's in a cast. He's got his eyeball shoved into the corner of the ring steps. He's been beaten unmercifully for about 15 straight minutes. He's totally dead. Dominic makes a big comeback with a kendo stick, destroys both guys. They run for their lives. Dominic had great fire here, but this beating went on for like an hour. And boy, this poor Aleister Black. What a 2 weeks this guy's had.
Yeah. I know the original plan for him was to take him out.
Well, he got taken out, all right.
Yeah. So I think that, I don't know for how long, but that was the original idea is to do an injury angle with Aleister Black.
That's a great idea. Let's get rid of Aleister Black.
Yeah, which is kind of weird when you're so low on talent to do. But I mean, I guess whatever. It's injury angles are fine. It's part of wrestling. It's so that's what it was. It's just the Seth thing. They need to get him out of this character. We all know that. We've known it from pretty much he started the character. We've known that they need to get him out of this character. So I mean, it's like after a few weeks, it was kind of like, well, maybe since they got him in here, we got to do a slow transition to get him out. It's like, we're just not transitioning into nothing. And it's like, okay, he's taking out Rey Mysterio's eye. So exactly who is he feuding with? Because they've already established that Black can't beat him because Black just lost to him last week. And so who's he feuding with? Dominic?
Dominic.
Is that the match at SummerSlam? Seth Rollins and Dominic?
Maybe. I mean, who else would it be?
I don't know. I'm thinking Rey, I mean, I don't know it seems with that angle they just did that it's a little early to bring Rey back. And Rey hasn't signed so far anyway. So who knows what's going on there.
We have Truth with Ali. Truth wants to make sure Ali isn't going for the 24/7 title. Ali says, come on, I got a match with Lashley tonight.
Wait a minute. What does it matter? Because Truth's not the champion.
Well, Truth says he's going to win his belt back, and then he's going to keep an eye on Ali.
Oh, okay.
Then he calls him Mufasa, and Ali has to explain the joke to everybody at home. Did he just call me Mufasa? That's a segment. MVP, Shelton, and Lashley are in the ring. They call out Ali as the guest. And MVP makes fun of him, but as he's making fun of him, Cedric and Ricochet is also trying to recruit him. Ali says, "You can fool those two meatheads. Can't fool me." And MVP says, "You do realize you're facing Lashley tonight. And you can join us, party like a rock star, or you can sit next to Apollo on the couch, injured reserve."
So, party like a rock star now? Or that what? It's like, is that even a term now?
It is for MVP and these guys.
Well, I mean, it was a year ago. I mean, now everything's shut down.
Well, they're in Florida, Dave.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a different world. It's a different world. It's like that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
So Truth rushes in. He tries to steal the 24/7 title from Shelton. He fails. He runs away. So we have Lashley versus Ali. Do you remember, Dave? We were talking about Ali, and I said, don't expect too much here.
I didn't.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
Boy, oh boy, did they just kill this dude.
But it wasn't even that they beat him. He got like 10% offense in this match.
Maybe. More like 5.
Maybe 5. I mean, I'm watching this match, and it's like, it's so one-sided. And I'm going like, okay, like I'm 8 minutes into this one-sided beating that's worse than like a squash match. And I'm going like, oh, I know what they're doing. They're doing this thing where because they want to protect Bobby, and Ali's going to slip over on a banana peel, and they're going to try to fool everyone and say, see, we're pushing Ali, even though it's not a push, because in those kind of matches, the guy who loses actually is the one that's getting over. But no, they didn't even do that. Then he freaking taps out to a full Nelson. I was like, you did that whole match and gave him no offense, and then he taps out. And, I mean, if it's a 3-minute match, it's one thing. You did that long, one-sided beatdown, and they're probably sitting there going like, we just got to keep beating this guy so he can be just like Daniel Bryan and the people can get behind him. And it's like, oh, God, not this again.
Well, Lashley kills him for an hour. The ninjas come out. Tozawa's there. Shelton's killing all these ninjas. Gave one of them an overhead belly-to-belly, and the guy didn't even flip over and take a bump. He almost landed in a handstand. He could have broken his arm. And then Lashley kills another one, helicoptering him into the ring post and into the ground. That was brutal. And so Ali hits...
So with all the distraction, Ali still loses anyway.
Well, there's the distraction. Ali hits a dive. They go to commercial. They come back. He's getting beaten on again. So he got one move. Bobby keeps beating on him, and finally, Ali hits a tornado DDT, and then he goes up top and misses a 450, and is put in the full Nelson. So he got, by my count, 2 moves in this match. I guess there was a little bit at the beginning, but basically 2 moves after Lashley first got the heat on him in what was like a 10-minute match.
I was so dumbfounded, throughout this. And it's like it's Ali's second week in.
He didn't even get to 3 weeks.
He was his second week. He didn't even get to 1 week. This was his first. This is the same week.
Well, that's true, but I mean, he at least got 1 week on television.
But what was the point?
Killed him.
Okay, what was the point of him winning last week? Now that we're in week 2, what was the point?
No clue, dude.
Okay, I mean, it's like that's another thing. It's like, why would he win last week? If he's going to just get destroyed in that. I mean, it's not even like losing. If he was going to lose to Lashley, there's ways to do it where, I wouldn't have booked that match. I mean, I would have, I wouldn't like beat him. I wouldn't beat him in week 2. But even if you're going in there and say, okay, we just need Lashley to get a big win. Although, God, for who? So who's Lashley being programmed with right now?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I can't figure any of this stuff out.
Okay. Because, like, if Lashley's been programmed with, The Undertaker or something, then
he's
it's
not being programmed with anybody right now. He's just a big dude. I mean, they couldn't even have Ali beat Shelton this week, and then he loses to Lashley, give him 2 wins over 2 of these guys.
But what's the purpose of him losing now? What's the purpose of him winning?
There's no purpose. But at least he'd have had another win first.
There's no purpose of any of this. But it's like, okay, even if he was going to lose, it's like, okay, he's going to lose. Give him 60% offense in the match. get him to do a bunch of near falls. The guy's really good. It isn't like he couldn't believably like do stuff to Lashley, do some speed stuff, do some cool moves, have Lashley on the run, and, then Lashley beats him fine. But I'm still trying. I guess Lashley's there to wrestle Drew, or, but if Randy, I don't know if Randy's going to win the title or not, but maybe they're saving Lashley for some main events down the line for the championship, which is fine. But watch, they don't even do that. They got, it doesn't appear, we're at SummerSlam season. It doesn't appear we even have opponents for Seth Rollins. We don't have opponents for Lashley. They just keep beating everybody. And it's like, it's one thing. It's like, if we know the opponent, we got one babyface. Am I missing somebody? We got one babyface that's over in Drew McIntyre, and every other babyface is a geek. And the Street Profits to a degree, but they're a tag team, so they're not going to be wrestling these guys right now anyway.
Well, Sasha and Bayley come out next for this segment. So they cut a promo, which leads to Asuka Sasha for the Raw title. The title can change hands, count out, DQ, pinfall, submission, etc. So Kyrie chases Bayley to the back, so we have a one-on-one match. And they actually had a very good one-on-one match.
I thought the match was really strong.
Which
itself, it almost made the finish more unnerving, because the match, those two are great. I mean, Asuka is like, Asuka's a super worker, and Sasha Banks is really good too.
So they're doing this match. They fought up top. Sasha hits a frog splash, goes for the bang statement. Asuka escapes. They fight outside. Sasha drops her knees first across the announce table, almost wins via countout. Asuka sprints back into the ring and then sells her knee again. And finally, they cut to a shot on the big screen. It's backstage. Bayley is killing Kairi Sane. And Asuka goes for the Asuka lock, but they keep the footage on the big screen. Whoever that guy was aired that footage on the big screen. That's the guy Asuka should go after. So Asuka's distracted. She has to decide, do I go save Kairi? Do I win this match? And finally, she has to go save her friend. And she rushes backstage. And by the way, the beating, it's not like Bayley's running her over with a forklift or dropping a bunch of shit on her or anything like that.
She's just kicking her and punching her.
She's stomping on her in the back.
Yeah.
And Asuka can't take any more stomping. So she runs back. She gets counted out of the ring. Sasha is the new Raw Women's Champion via count out.
Yep.
She gets backstage. Bayley flees. Kairi is dead. We later have Asuka storming out of the doctor's / trainer room. This pandemic is so bad, they've cut either the doctor or the trainer. Now it's the same guy. Doctor / trainer. And she's in tears, and she screams something in Japanese. It appears Kairi has been killed by these stomps.
She's probably screaming, they screwed up my booking completely.
Did they ever?
Yeah. We had a frickin' plan, and they frickin' tore it up, and now we got no plan.
Yeah, so remember that interview where they were teasing that Asuka-Kairi match at SummerSlam, and people online got so excited? Too bad for you guys.
They were never doing that match. That was never in the cards. But why do that? Why tease that when you got 2 weeks left and you know you're not doing the match?
Just to piss everybody off. Get heat on somebody.
Who got the heat? Who's the heat on? Vince?
Bayley. She ruined the match. Stomping on Kairi.
They were never doing the match anyway.
We have a Regis video package. Then we have Murphy and Humberto Carrillo, which actually was a pretty good match.
They're good. They're really good.
They go back and forth. Carrillo hits a big kick. They fight on the apron. Murphy escapes. Carrillo tries to dive off the top. V-trigger out of midair. Murphy's Law for the pin. Good match, but another young guy beaten.
We've already given up on Carrillo long ago, so that one didn't bother me. And that was and Murphy's the one who's getting a push, so that's fine. It's just, the whole night was just heels over, but yeah, other than the main event.
Drew Schoen talking to Mark Henry in the back, and then he comes out for a promo.
So the deal with Mark Henry is that, Mark Henry and Ron Simmons were brought in for this tapings for the Nation of Domination angle that they scrapped. So I guess they just figured since Mark Henry's there, they put him on TV for no apparent reason other than, he's here. Let's put him on TV.
Here's spouting wisdom, they said.
Is that what he was spouting wisdom?
Yes.
Is that what he was doing?
Yes.
Okay. To Drew McIntyre?
Yes.
Okay.
So Drew comes out for a promo. It'll be himself and Randy for the title at SummerSlam. Says he's the biggest threat to his title. He says, I know everybody here thinks I'm the underdog, and I hope that's what Randy is thinking. I'm begging you to underestimate me just like Lesnar did. I kicked his ass in 5 minutes of WrestleMania. You're not going to see the Claymore coming, he says. And Dolph, I got a stipulation for you. So Dolph comes out, wants to know the stip. Drew says, I learn from you all the time. I was so inspired at the Extreme Rules show. I'm going to do the same thing here. You have Extreme Rules in this match, and so do I. And so they had an Extreme Rules match, and as far as Extreme Rules matches go, this was a really fun match. They did all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Drew beat him all over the place, threw him into the post early. Finally, Dolph gives him a low blow, beats him up for a while. Drew makes the big comeback, big superplex, goes for the Claymore. Ziggler hits the big zigzag out of nowhere. Ziggler gets a chair, but Drew hits the Claymore, sends him through a table, gets the pin. That's the end of Dolph for the time being. And as Drew is celebrating afterwards,
don't say that. He may be in the main event on the next pay-per-view for all we know.
Randy flies in out of nowhere, lays out Drew with the RKO. And that's how the show ended. I thought the second hour of this show, aside from the count out title change, I thought the action in the third hour was great.
The action in the ring was really good in the second hour. Yeah.
Third hour.
Third hour, yeah.
First and second hour were every Raw you've ever seen. There was a point in that first hour.
Yeah, but I mean, even
what it was.
I don't know. To me, like even the Asuka Bayley, that finish just, I mean, it was still a great match, but that finish just really bothered me just because of, I mean, I would say that finish bothered me more than anything on the show because it was just hitting me watching. It's like, they don't get it. They're really like, they don't know. They don't even know that they're how out of touch they are now. But it's like, how many years, like I said, how many years has it been since people have shit on those kind of finishes? I mean, it's not, it's like you got to listen to the audience. You got to adapt. And they're, sitting there, oh, well, the people at home. And it's like, fuck, you go to the arena. This is how they behave. This is what, the game's changed. It's like, God, it's not like you're someone who's been like gone for 15 years and then you come back. Well, I mean, Bruce was gone for some time, but not 15 years. But Vince has never left. It's like, is it like, does he just, I don't know. I don't get him. Does he just like not like listen to the crowd anymore? Well, yes, obviously he doesn't listen to the crowd anymore, but it's like, every lesson that he learned, every lesson from booking to listening to the crowd to everything, it's like he's forgotten all of it. It baffles me. I mean, it just baffles me. I know the old Vince, and it was just like he was on, no matter what you think of him ethically, obviously ethically he's the same Vince, but as far as like a guy when it comes to, putting together weekly television and building characters, I mean, that Vince that was around for all those years, even like in the 90s when it sucked, and it did, it was like, at least like the fundamental stuff wasn't like this. I mean, this is like fundamentally WCW level bad. And I would never have said that before. It's just, this is the fundamentals of this, of the booking tonight and last week and week by week when you watch it, it's just very, very bad.